Hello everyone and welcome to this afternoon's event, which, as most if not all of you I hope know, celebrates the hard launch of the JISC funded digitisation of all the surviving papers of the Board of Longitude and associated materials from Greenwich and elsewhere, based in the Cambridge Digital Library maintained by the University Library, Cambridge. I'm going to start by reading appropriate text. This business is but of modern invention, and of late improved in England to the highest perfection. We beat all Europe in this business, and export these useful engines to all parts of the known world. At the first appearance of these devices, they were but rude to what they are now. They were begun and ended by one man. But of late years, that maker, properly so called, scarce makes anything himself. He only employs the different tradesmen amongst whom this art is divided, and puts the several pieces together and adjusts and finishes it. A finisher is one who puts the whole machine together. The maker then puts his name upon the device, and is esteemed the maker, though he has not made the smallest thing belonging to it. It is supposed, however, that he can make all the movements of this system, and he trains apprentices to make them by hand. He must be a judge of the goodness of work at first sight, and he puts his name to nothing but that which will stand the severest trial. For the value of this system depends on the reputation of the maker only. Now, as some of you will know, that's not a description of JISC or digital websites, though it could be, except perhaps for the chauvinist remark about England at the start. It's from Robert Campbell's The London Tradesman of 1747, and it's a description, which is why I thought it was apt, of the system through which watches and clocks were manufactured in Georgian England. And there is, let me not dwell on it, obviously a relationship between the putting out system of the 18th century and what the digital project that we've just engaged upon, all of us, involves. There is no one maker or finisher for this project, but I'm going now to read out, in gratitude, a longish list of names so that you're aware, and we'll come back to this later this afternoon, just how much labour went into this and how much labour we hope it will encourage. In no particular order then, we should thank Lucinda Blazer, Richard Dunn, Becky Higgett, Emma Saunders, Mary Ferguson, Grant Young, Hugh Jones, Pete Johnston, Jenny Fletcher, Gillian Torrance, Chris Stoko, Andy Corrigan, Don Manning, Les Goody, Maciek Pawlikowski, Nancy Buck, Annie Casciano, Rachel Johnson, Blase Mikula, Mark Scudder, Alan Farrant, James Bloxon, Lucy Cheng, Deborah Fandel, Ngaio Vince Duers, Katie Barrett, Sophie Waring, Owen Phillips, Megan Barford, James Poskett, Alexi Baker, Nikki Reeves, and Peter Findlay. That's a minimum. So I do want to begin with really profound gratitude to all our funders and supporters and those who've made this possible. Please take an opportunity, if you haven't already, to visit through the Cambridge Digital Library site, the Board of Longitude site, which is now active and live. Admire the extraordinary cartoon films that you see on the front page. Gasp in amazement at your ability to capture and magnify the image of every page of every document that's online. Gawp in a certain amount of terror at the amount of prose that's on the site in terms of metadata. Thank you guys for that. And above all, please use it in creative and interesting ways. We'll be tracking that over the next period. Two pieces of housekeeping before we start. There is no scheduled fire alarm this afternoon, so if you hear a fire alarm, It's either because the uncharacteristically ambient temperature has made the bimetallic strips change in a way John Harrison would have blushed to acknowledge, or something else is happening, in which case go out this room and turn left and go through the front door and rally around the buried pots that you see just outside the front of the building. Secondly, you'll see from the schedule, which I hope you've all had access to, that this afternoon's events are divided into two parts. From now through about 3:15, we'll hear from Tim Hitchcock from Hertfordshire and then Sophie Waring from here in Cambridge. Then there'll be a much needed break for us to discuss the implications of what they've said. And then a slightly longer section with Larry Stewart from Saskatchewan and David Philip Miller from UNSW. And then we'll need to finish rather promptly by 10 or 15 at the very latest, because we'll then form an orderly school crocodile. Please bring a packed lunch and wear sensible footwear. And we will walk, well, some of us actually will wheel our bikes from here to the university library, which takes normally 6.5 minutes. But my experience with school crocodiles is it will take us about 15 minutes to get there. And in the UL, when you go in the entrance on the right, you go through to the Milstein room, there will be drink and people even posher than the people in this room. And there'll be a short speech by the Astronomer Royal, Martin Rees. I'm not actually quite sure what he's going to do. I haven't discussed that with him. Maybe break a bottle of champagne over a silicon chip. And then there'll be a reception to celebrate the event. So please join us for that. You're all invited and you're all extremely welcome to come. We're looking forward to that very much indeed. Without further ado, oh, last thing, there's no AC in this room. So we're going to leave that door open. And we're being filmed. Which I hope is all right. So when you ask questions, if you could identify yourself, that would be good for our records. Richard Dunn, my colleague from Greenwich, is going to say a few words, and then we'll hear from Tim. Let me just go past that.
Right, thank you and welcome. I'm here representing Royal Museums Greenwich as one of the three partners in the project. The others being the University Library and the Department of History and Philosophy of Science, which Simon obviously represents. So to Simon's list of people, some of whom are Greenwich people, I should add a large number of other people, I won't name them, don't worry, from Greenwich who have helped with the linked aspects of the project that link into the Cambridge Digital Library itself. So one of the very exciting things we've been able to do with the project is to link collections at Greenwich. That's manuscript collections, including a lot of papers of Neville Maskelyne, probably the most important person in the Longitude story. Ship logs relating to a lot of the testing and a lot of other material about the use and arguments over the use and development of longitude methods. It's also allowed us to make direct links between the archival material and the collections, the object collections at Greenwich, because obviously we hold things like the John Harrison timekeepers, many other timekeepers, material relating to the Cook voyages, which are obviously central to the story, and a range of other materials. So you will find, particularly in the contextual essays and the summaries, links right through to the Greenwich collections. And the other thing we've been able to do on our website, but linked to the Cambridge Digital Library, is create a number of resources, learning resources, narrative pathways that help different learners, formal education and informal learners, to engage more actively with the resource. And in terms of engagement and public-facing outputs of the project, this digitisation project has been really essential to work we're doing this year and leading into next year. Me and Rebecca Higgett are writing a book on the Longitude story. We delivered the script on Tuesday, and that's already benefited, if from nothing else, from all the summary work that the real workers on the project have done, allowing us to draw interesting snippets for the book. That relates to a major exhibition on the longitude story that we'll be doing at Greenwich, which again is going to draw on this same material as well, obviously, as on our own collections. And we're also going to be launching a couple of other projects fairly soon. In September, we're going to be launching a steampunk-based competition that will use the Board of Longitude papers as inspiration for artists to create longitude-inspired artworks that will, the winners of the competition will go on display in an exhibition in the Royal Observatory next year alongside the kind of more standard longitude show that will be in this special exhibition gallery at Greenwich. So that's a nice creative way in which we hope that this resource will feed into some really quite interesting and unexpected public outputs, if you like. So that's just a little bit of kind of thanks to the funders and everyone who's worked on this project for everything it's feeding into in terms of our work and our attempts to engage with the public. And I should hand over now to people to talk more knowingly about things. Thank you.